Hi everyone, welcome to Topic Time. Today we have a really interesting subject that we're going to talk about. It's about Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Now the story about Oak Ridge, Tennessee actually took place during the Second World War, how it came to be. In 1942, the U.S. government began acquiring more than 59,000 acres of land in eastern Tennessee. The secret World War II program that developed the A-bomb. Oak Ridge was the home of the uranium enrichment plant, the K-25 and the Y-12, the liquid thermal diffusion plant, the S-50 and the pilot plutonium production reactor X-10 gratified reactor. That's a mouthful. In other words, it was part of the Manhattan Project. Why they chose Tennessee? Simple. The Manhattan Project was taking place in Long Island. It was a secret what they were doing. Scientists like Albert Einstein, Enrico Fermi were some of the top scientists that were working on this atomic bomb. But it was a secret from everybody. So in order to keep this quiet, they needed to not build the plant in Manhattan. They needed to move it into a landlocked state. So Tennessee was the perfect area. It was a landlocked state in the hills. Nobody would realize that what they were doing in this factory. In fact, the people that lived around the area didn't know what was going on. They just thought it was just another plant being built for World War II productions. It was called the Secret City or the Quiet City or the Secret City, that nobody really knew what was going around and what was happening. But people that came to work in this Secret City, also known as the Clinton Engineering Works, were sworn to secrecy. They had to take a pledge when they took this job that they would speak to no one or tell anyone what they were doing in this plant. This plant housed many women, worked there as well as men. Now when they built this plant, they only expected 30,000 workers, but it ballooned out to almost 75,000 workers working there. So what they had to do is they had to think quickly and build more housing to house these people. And these are some of the houses they built. Now remember, this was World War II, where it was hard to get wood and different types of building material to build the houses. So a lot of the houses went up really fast for these workers, and they all looked identical. One of the things that I found very interesting is all the houses were built that the kitchens were facing the roadway, so that all the plumbing work all went the same way. So by building the houses along the road and the kitchens all being in front, it made it easier to install the plumbing in some of these houses, which was kind of interesting. Another thing too about the houses is they were made with cemento, which was a mixture of cement and asbestos. Well, we know that asbestos today is not too cool, but back in those days, we didn't know the effects of asbestos, just like we didn't know the effects of what this radiation and the treatments of these plants that they were building these atomic bombs would later produce and what it would affect men and women. But the thing about the Oak Ridge is it was so quiet, it was so well maintained. It was a city within its own self. In fact, when some of the people went out into the Knoxville, which was the other large city around Tennessee, to go shopping and all that, the people in those areas really resented them because they had money and they didn't have the rationing that they had to do in Knoxville. So, and they knew that these people worked at the factory because they said the mud on their shoes gave them away because of the clay and the mud, the dirt from where they were building the site. But at any rate, it brought in money and it brought in income. And again, people didn't really know what was being built there. It was a secret. In fact, there was a saying about the Oak Ridge that went like this. It says, what you see here, what you do here, what you hear here, when you leave here, let it stay here. Just like another saying that was used a lot during World War II was, loose lips sink ships. So these were all things that were done in secrecy. In today's world, we would know about it just like that because of our media and our coverage and all that. But back then, remember, the coverage in the news was depending on newspapers and radio. So if they didn't want people to know what was going on, it was a well-kept secret. So Oak Ridge went on to house and built 5 different plutonium bombs and helped with the making of these bombs. It was a city within a city that went from 1942 till 1949. On August 6th and on August 9th, when the U.S. dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. The attacks helped bring an end to World War II and changed the face of the geographics. Soon after the attacks, local papers read, Oak Ridge attacks Japan. So at that point, most of the people knew now what was going on at Oak Ridge. After the Second War, Oak Ridge didn't fold up. It became a local scientific research area. To this day, it's still used as research areas. Today, you can go on the site and view the homes and what it was like to live there, view the factories and the plants. Some of them have been formed to make different types of plants, and you can see the monuments made for the people, the men and the women who worked in these plants to develop those bombs. Oak Ridge, Tennessee, the secret city, the secret of all secrets of World War II. I hope you enjoy it, learning about Oak Ridge, Tennessee. I've enjoyed reading about it. I've enjoyed reading some of the books and some of the information. There is a lot of information out there. If you want to read more up about it, more about it, do so. You'll find it very interesting. You'll find some of the many great scientists that helped in developing this atomic bomb and how it changed our life forever. Thank you and have a good day.